Alright, I'm going to get right to the point here. As a longtime Led Zeppelin fan, I've always thought they missed a golden opportunity to do a concept album. All the bands in the 70s that did concept albums, from The Who to Pink Floyd and everyone in between, Led Zeppelin is the band I feel was most suited to just hit a concept album right out of the park. And before I go just a little bit into why I think this and how I think that might have played out, I want to talk about what kind of concept album I'm talking about here. And what I mean is more of a concept album like Tommy, less of a concept album like The Wall. I think that they would have done much better with a really strong narrative structure rather than going into this kind of deep, self-involved, reflective, personal analysis. So with that said, I'll move on and say a couple other reasons why I feel this would have been a very successful and fruitful path for Led Zeppelin to go down. And that's because out of their existing studio albums, there are two of them that I think are really close to being concept albums. And the first one is Led Zeppelin 4. If you listen to the first side and compare it to the second side, what you basically have is an ascension on the first side, that ends with Stairway to Heaven, and a descent on the second side that ends with When the Levee Breaks. And on the way in between, you've got almost like a global journey. The entire album is about movement and motion through time and space. So I think it's really close, musically and lyrically, to being a concept album. I'm not saying it is a concept album. I'm saying it shows great potential that Led Zeppelin had if they had chosen to do a concept album. The second album I would refer to would be Houses of the Holy. And this album is basically, from beginning to end, a love song to their audience, a love song to themselves as a band, and a love song to the music. So you start off with The Song Remains the Same, which is clearly all about traveling the world and singing music to their fans, and you end with The Ocean, which is the exact same thing. No Quarter is basically about the mission of the band. So it's really close to being a concept album, and it's a really good concept album, and very close to the self-referential thing I said I did not want them to do, but it's very joyous. Whereas if you look at Roger Waters' contemplation of being a rock star and an icon that's probed on the wall, it's very dark and very disheartening, whereas the Zeppelin take on it is joyous. Okay, so I'm going to close this out here by saying that what kind of concept album do I think would have been really good for them to do? Well, first of all, I don't think it would have been a good idea for them to do what maybe seems like obvious, like a Lucifer Rising type thing with Page's dilemma and occult philosophy leading the way. I think it would have been much better to explore maybe some traditional, I think they should have done a concept album based on traditional Celtic myth, or even a fantasy album like Lord of the Rings. So in closing, I think Led Zeppelin would have been an ideal candidate band to make a concept album in the 70s, and I wish they would have done so. What do you think? Please leave your thoughts on this or any other subject connected to classic or contemporary music in the comment section below, and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.